علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all of praise and thanks are due to him, and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I will finish the last example from the covenant of the Madinah, or the constitution of the Madinah, or the charter of Madinah. It contains 51 articles. However, I highlighted I think 13 or 14. Today I will give number 15. It will be just an example. We will not go through all of them because by themselves they take maybe 10 lessons. But just the idea, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came to Al-Madinah, he did many things such as establishing the masjid with the message of the masjid. As we all know, we keep reminding ourselves and our respected brothers and sisters. Now, we in the West might be able to realize what do we mean by the message of the masjid more than many Arabs in Arabic countries. Because the masjid here basically is what we know now like a community center. Then Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did something similar to that. And he did the mu'akha, the brotherhood, which was a unique phenomena in the human history. Wherever, whenever, to the best of our information, no nation on earth in their recorded history, to the best of our knowledge, ever, never, a group of people migrated from a city to a city, and the host city, those who do not know them except with their new faith, they shared with them their wealth. It's an amazing human phenomena that needs to be studied. طبعا for us, we know it. It's a brotherhood in Islam. So, ajr, thawab, because simply we know the justification. The justification, al-malik lil-mal huwa Allah. The real owner of the money is Allah in our faith. And this is highly appreciated by the owner, i.e. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in the concept of barakah, blessings, and we believe in the concept of ajr and thawab, reward. And we believe in the concept of the akhirah, which is the hereafter. When you put all these things together, you can understand why they did so. Very simple. Okay, it's not easy, but understand the justification and the sequence. Okay? How others can justify it, it's amazing. Anyway, then we talked about what we believe, to the best of our recorded history, is the first civil institution for a civil society in the history of humanity. Before that, does that mean that the people did not have states? They did have. But the base of the state, it's either a family or a king or an ethnic superiority for a group against a group. But in what we know now as a civil society, which means a group of people, they have a city, different ethnic origins, culture origins, religious origins, and they have a constitution that regulates the relation between them, rights and something. It was a unique phenomena at that time. Now, to the best of our knowledge, now this was not known by what we know now except after the French Revolution. Started thinking how to make it. French Revolution started 1789, ended 1798, ended, which means about 225 years from now. Then European countries started from France to spread, started applying what many people are enjoying now as civil societies. We are talking about an average of 1 to 1.5 century. Now we are discussing something happened 14 centuries ago. So this is notable. We highlighted many concepts. Today I will finish by number 14 and 15. قال المرجعية في الحكم إلى الشريعة الإسلامية. The reference point when you have any kind of dispute goes to Islamic Sharia law. So we have 2 points in this here in the constitution itself. قال وإنكم مهما اختلفتم فيه من شيء فإن مرده إلى الله عز وجل وإلى محمد. Whatever we knew last time, we have, for example, the dhimmi people. Dhimmi means you have their right, you are protected, you do your own things in your own areas. Once we have a dispute in something, we have what we call the general big reference now. It's Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال وإنه ما كان بين أهل هذه الصحيفة من حدث أو اشتجار يخاف فساده فإن مرده إلى الله وإلى محمد رسول الله وإن الله على أتقى ما في هذه الصحيفة أبر. Which means as long as with the general previous rules everything goes well, no problem. If there is a serious dispute that people in the Medina, they have afraid من الفساد, a corruption will happen, a serious problem will happen. Okay, what's the reference point? قال الله قال الرسول. Some people they say, but wait, what does this mean? Does this mean if there's a problem between Jews and Muslims, so the end result will be to Allah? Yes. What's the problem? At the end, when the dispute happens, there's a reference of a constitution or what we call now the law. Now, for example, you have a secular law. If I have a dispute with someone else, do they care about my Islamic reference? I'll give you a simple example. You are a Muslim, your wife is a Muslimah. You had a dispute with your wife. She went to the court and she started filing a case against you that she wants divorce. What will happen and what is the law that will be enforced against you? Islamic law? What will happen? You have dispute now. If we don't have dispute, you and your wife go and whatever you want to do between yourself. You want to marry, to divorce, no one will interfere. Type there a dispute. She went to the court. What will happen to you? What will be enforced against you? Secular Canadian law. Any dispute about that? But at the end there is a reference. This is a constitution. So, and we are in one of the most civilized countries now. So, just if some people, but how come? Yes, when we have reference, it is an Islamic state. Nuqta, period. When you have, now you have your own space. Like now, for example, now. I will give you simple example because we need to understand this. Now we are living in a masjid. Imagine we have a dispute and something had to do with Islamic madhahib. For example, Sheikh Abdul Aziz, let's imagine he did his studies at Al-Azhar and he's following Al-Shafi'i, for example. And he insists to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim loudly when he recites the Salah. Let's imagine that the majority of you are Maliki or Hanafi. You are against this, for whatever reason. We have dispute now. Is there any room for Canadian law to interfere now? No. It's an internal problem. We might have some kind of dispute. Some people will be angry. Some people, they hate it. Some people, they like it. Whatever. This is internal, let's say, way of understanding. For whatever reason. For example, maybe we can ask Sheikh Nash'at to come. Maybe they will ask me to be a hakam. Maybe we can discuss it inside it. Dispute, yes. Fine. Imagine that we decided, for example, to do like a nasheed or a mawlid. Is it something agreed upon between Muslims? No. We have disputes about this. Is it bid'ah or not bid'ah? Regardless. We have disputes. Is there any room for Canadian police to come because we have a nasheed here, for example, no, they will interfere. But, God forbid, if, God forbid, in theory, one of the members started fighting, or founding members, he said, I believe that, God forbid, the money which is collected is not going exactly to the places why they were collected for. And they have a dispute, so one of them, he decided to go to the court. What will happen? What will happen? Islamic law? No. Khalas. They will ask everyone to go to the court, and what will be applied against them? It has nothing to do, but you know, the money, riba, or bank, no. The conduct law, there's a problem, there is no problem. You did mistake, yes, no, regardless, you like it, you hate it, you want it, you don't want it, you have no option. Do you have an option, by the way? You don't have an option. Khalas. It's something above your internal. This is exactly what used. Now we are living exactly what used to happen at that time. Because some people, they say, but how come, where is the rights of the Jews or the Christians or the, no, they have their rights. Like we now, we have rights. When there is a dispute, we don't agree upon, and we go to the higher state, what will happen is the superiority of the main faith of the state, which could be whatever. Is this applicable now or not? This is exactly what used to happen at that time. So, but by the way, what people say, okay, what's the new thing? The new thing at that time, no one used to have this freedom. Go and read the history. Go and read the context of the history, what used to happen in Europe, just to know what I'm talking about. Now, Jews enjoying their own religious rights within Muslims. To understand this, go and read what used to happen in Europe in what they call the medievals. In their books, they called it Dark Ages. Just read about what happened between Protestant and Catholics, just to have an idea, which means if a majority of religious faith, they are controlling another group of another sub-faith from the faith itself, were they allowed to enjoy their freedom? Yes or no? No. Everyone knows about the persecution and the punishment that happened against the Protestant in Europe by the Catholics for hundreds of years. So it's not something new. So wherever you go, no one had the freedom of believing in something against the majority when they have the power. It does not happen. It did not happen. So this is the point. I mean, when we say about civil society, but at the end, if there is a dispute, you must go to higher authority. But what is the higher authority? At the end, you have to stop something. Secularism, communism, whatever. And by the way, now in Russia and in China, what is the ideology that is ruling? Communism. Communist party. Maybe they don't interfere in your business when you are inside your house. Once a dispute between any people goes outside, communism. That's it. I'm not discussing you agree or disagree with. I'm not discussing you like it or you hate it. This is not my point. But is this applied on 1 billion person or not now? Yes. Yes. So one of the, just to understand this concept, I need to share this story with you. This could give you, and because my biggest point is fixing possible misconceptions. Especially we are living as a minority with a majority. So these questions comes always. I remember myself, I was teaching, I'm a university associate professor, and I teach some courses in English and Arabic in my university back in Jordan. So one of the courses, which is elective course, and it's open for all students to register. It's called Islamic culture. So I remember myself, I think in 2003, 20 years exactly, I was giving this course, and inside the course, because it was in English, so I used to have a lot of non-Arabs and non-Muslims, especially those who come to my university to attend Arabic classes, cultural classes, some kind of exchange, academic, something diplomatic, difference. So he used to come to this course. So I remember it happened with me more than one course. The majority of those who used to attend from non-Arabs and non-Muslims, they were American students from different, field of specialization. So I remember once a very hot discussion between, I think, about 10 American students. One of them, I remember him, he was very frank with me. I was discussing the same style that you know, talking about the definition of Islam, how we Muslims believe that we are such and such, we believe that. So then he raised up his hand, he said, hey doctor, please, why it's the case that you Muslims are always troublemakers? This is how he said it, literally. I said, what do you mean by troublemakers? I said, look, he himself was a Christian, as I remember. He said, we Christians, we live in different countries like you, but we don't have problems with our governments. This is his wording. While you can see, wherever you go, wherever Muslims are active, always they have troubles with their governments. You got my point? This is how which is true. Now he said, wherever you go, always clashes, Muslims with their rulers, Muslims with their government, Muslims with their regimes, always boom, boom, boom. Said, excuse me, but it seems there's something in your religion. Then subhanallah, sometimes I did not blame him because this is how he came. I said, okay, if you want really to understand, I said, are you ready to have a intellectual debate? He said, yes. Okay, I said, now, I think there is a big mistake in your departure point in understanding. He said, why? I said, you are putting me in a very difficult situation when you compare my religion with your religion. So what do you mean? I said, it's not my problem if your religion is not comparable with my religion. That's why I said, you as a Christian, you have your own context. The development of whatever of your religion, you faced a problem in what you call dark ages, and you call secularism, and you call French Revolution. You, in your context, decided to change the relation, the nature of your religion into XYZ, where your religion, it was minimized to interfere just in what now you call what? Spirituality, worship, rituals, Sunday service, and in general you don't interfere in anything else, and you were forced to that by the secular power. This is your context. Whenever I explained to him the nature of Islam, way of life, style of life, always he said, no, we don't have. I said, okay. Then Allah guided me to the following example. I said, if you want to understand me, my feelings, my convictions, you don't have to keep comparing me with the Christianity. To understand me, compare me with your American Constitution. I said, what? He said, I told him, my Islam for me is like your democracy and your constitution for you. He said, what do you mean? I said, your American Constitution, the First Amendment and Sixth Amendment, and this kind of very powerful, is this something vital? He said, well, yes. Are you ready to fight for it? He said, yes. I said, what if it happened? When I asked this question, George Bush was in power. Okay? When I asked that question 20 years ago. I said, what if George Bush decided to destroy your democracy or your constitution? He said a very bad word. I can't repeat it. He said, we will do such and such for him. I said, so you will not be a violent terrorist? He said, no, we will not allow him to destroy our democracy and our constitution. I said, okay, because it's what? It's your way of life. For us, Islam is our way of life. It's not a spiritual 10 minutes. We spend it in the morning of Friday by a ceremony, and we have that kind of spirituality with our Lord, and we do supplication, and we go to our secular life. This is your problem, sir, not my problem. So don't compare me with Christianity. Compare me with your constitution. And he said, thank you. Stop. I can't argue. You see? So sometimes, okay, he was fair, looking, okay, I did not blame him the fact that he attacked me at the beginning. And he accused us, all of us, we are all troublemakers. He said, no, we are not troublemakers. Simply, we are defending our way of life. Are you ready to fight anyone who will destroy your way of life? He said, yes. So what's the difference between you and me? He said, nothing. I'm ready to defend what I believe is the true way of life, which is American democracy, American constitution, American... Look now, Americans in America, one of the great things they are always proud of, and I don't blame them. Blacks, I wish when they say the First Amendment, they did what? Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of assembly. By the way, are Americans ready to fight anyone who will touch these things or not? Literally, are they ready to fight or not?
Sure.
Definitely. And they are ready to do a very bad thing. Anyone will touch their freedom of assembly. That's why in America, it's the only country on earth by a very clear constitution. No one has the right to speak with you if you are gathering. And if you can watch on the YouTube, sometimes police, persons in the United States, you feel as if they are begging the citizens when they speak with them because of this way of thinking. Am I detained? Am I detained? No. Can I know why you stopped me? Can I know why you stopped me? You say, what's your say? No, you have no right to say. This kind. Where did they bring this from? So if someone will violate this right, what will happen? They will fight. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Yet, they themselves, 10 of them in my class, you Muslims are troublemakers. Why? Because you always have troubles with your governments. I said, it's not my problem if your glasses that you are judging me through are wrong glasses. It's your problem, not mine. Don't compare me with the same thing, for example, happened between, just to give you an idea of how to argue, because when you speak about your religion, you need to speak, this is your identity. And as long as they misunderstand you, you will keep yourself in a bubble or in the corner in a very weak status. So you need to explain to them, because I'm assuming the majority of them, they are seeking the truth. Definitely you have bad people, always evil people in any culture. But it's not the case with everyone. The majority they seek, but they don't know. So how you make them though? Make a very, very strong logical argument when you speak with them. Make it compared with their, like, do you hear about Ahmad Didat? Ahmad Didat, once he was quoting an incident happened between Dr. Abdullah Nasif and John Paul II. This happened either 80s or 70s, I forgot, because the tape that I listened to, it was in 90s. He was quoting something either 80s or 70s, I don't remember. John Paul II, I remember I was a young man when he was in the Catholic Church, the Pope of the Catholic Church. Anyway, he was quoting an incident, I'm assuming happened in the early 80s, which was about 40 years ago. Abdullah Nasif is the head of Rabitat al-Alam al-Islami, the Muslim Countries League. He was invited by John Paul II into the Vatican for what they call it now as interfaith dialogue. So he accepted the invitation. I'm quoting now Ahmad Didat. Ahmad Didat is quoting Abdullah Nasif directly about what happened between him and the Pope of the Vatican, John Paul II, okay? He said to Ahmad Didat, he said, I was invited, so I accepted this invitation. Why not? We Muslims, we are open to anyone. We are very happy to speak with anyone. So he accepted the invitation. He took a flight directly to Italy and went to the Vatican. He said, they welcomed me in a room and I kept there waiting for half an hour. I'm quoting literally now. He said, for a reason that I don't know why, they kept me waiting alone for 30 minutes and no one came to the room, even though he was invited by the head of the Vatican. And by the way, the Vatican is a state. In the political terminology, it is a state. It has its own territory. Okay. He said, then someone came, a secretary, and he invited me to another room and I stayed there for another 30 minutes alone. No one knew why this happened. But I'm just quoting now. Okay. He said, after the second time, I was asked to move to a third room. When I went to there, Pope John Paul II, I believe, he came and without even apologizing for why they kept me full hour waiting, or without saying you are welcome, or without greeting with any type of greetings. The first question he started saying, believe it or not, I'm quoting now, he immediately said, why you do not allow us to build churches in Saudi Arabia? Because Abdullah Nasir is from Saudi Arabia, and the League of Muslim countries, it's in Jeddah. So basically he was addressing him as what? As a Saudi Muslim. Yes, immediately he said, why you don't allow us to build churches in Saudi Arabia? Now, try to picture this possibility. Imagine it, you are in his place, bearing in your mind that we Muslims all are enjoying having masajid in the West. Now, the question, what will come to your mind? Okay, are Muslims allowed to have their mosques or masajid in North America? Yes or no? Yes. Right. Muslims, are they allowed to have their masajid in most countries of Europe? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. وتخليك معه شوي. جايك حبة حبة. صبرا لا يسر. Yes. So what could come to your mind as first of all is what? Oh yes, they are allowing us to have our masajid. But look how tough, rude, and bad we are because we don't what? Allow them to have their what? Their churches. But subhanallah, Abdullah Nasif, he was very clever. He immediately said, no problem, do you allow us to have our masajid inside the Vatican? Compare the alike with the alike. Don't compare a religious state with a secular state. Compare a religious with a religious. What is the religious state in Europe? Vatican. Question. Does the Vatican allow Muslims to have a masjid inside the Vatican? Yes or no? No. Close the file. Do you want to proceed? Yalla, we are ready. For sometimes, the question, the word of question, ooh, yes, he came to me. Yeah, you Muslims are troublemakers. شو troublemakers? I'm just defending my existence. I'm just defending my identity. I've been attacked by the regimes in my country. What are you talking about troublemakers? Because religious people look, we Christians are not having troubles. This is your problem, not mine. Because your religion is not your style of life. My religion is my way of life. So it's not my problem, it's your problem. Allah يسهل عليك. It's not my problem. So compare me with the alike. What is the similarity with me? Your constitution or your democracy or your human rights, whatever. Okay? This is my way of life. This is your way of life. Are you gonna give up if someone is attacking your way of life? No. So don't keep blaming me as a troublemaker. The same thing. Why you don't allow us to have churches in the Saudi Arabia? No problem. Do you allow us to have masajid in Vatican? No. Close the file. But we are allowing you. Okay, compare it with secular Arab countries. Christians, they have churches in all Arab countries, secular. So if you want to compare Syria with Italy, if you want to compare Jordan with Germany, no problem. Yes, tfaddal, yes. This is alike with the alike. They are secular countries. Okay, Muslim countries, but the regime is using what? Secular systems. Do we have churches for Christians or not? Yes. So compare all. Why you came just to Saudi Arabia? By the way, I'm not discussing that Saudi Arabia is doing good or bad. This is not my point now. Because I'm quoting something 40 years ago. Because the question was by the Pope of the Vatican against a Saudi representative about having churches in Saudi Arabia. So the argument, if someone has no way of thinking, he might be yes, I'm sorry, yes, Muslims, no. This with this, no, خلاص. Close the file or let's proceed. Yalla. When you allow me to have a masjid, please be the role model. I will discuss with Saudi people to have your church. Don't worry. Abshir. Got my point? So sometimes it's part of the discussion, sometimes just to talk about it. Anyway, the point was here, I'm just discussing the whole idea of the reference point for the state as a religious state. Because when someone say, okay, but at the end it's religious. Okay, still now we have religion. We have the Vatican now. They have their own system. They don't allow to do something else. And we respect their privacy, so respect ours. Period. That's it. This is the whole story. Because some people, under what could be called secularism, liberalism, they think that this is the ultimate example. No, it's a way of life. Let them enjoy, and I have my own way of life. Respect me if you believe in diversity. True or false? Okay? And by the way, this is something should be very clear when you speak with when you educate your kids. Anyway, I will move today. خلاص. By this point, I have finished 15 points out of 51 points from the Medina Charter. Examples, just examples. You can go and read them by your own. Now we will move to a new points. Some of the things that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we are still at the very beginning of the Medina era. We are the first phase after the existence in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara and the immigration. We spoke about Ukhuwa, Mu'akha, Brotherhood, Masjid, Medina Charter. Now, some of the writers, they highlighted the beautiful points about what happened at Al-Madinah, just to broaden our understanding. Now, there is a riwayah, it was narrated by Imam Muslim about Siyam Ashura, which is fasting the day of Ashura. We have a very significant message, has to do with the interfaith dialogue and relations with others, and our faith, and how do we view other prophets and messengers. What is the relation? You need to understand this. قال ابن عباس, the narrator is Ibn Abbas, he said أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قدم المدينة فوجد اليهود صياما يوم عاشوراء. When he came to Medina, after a certain while, he noticed that the Jews inside the Medina, they used to fast on the day of Ashura. The day of Ashura, which is, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, which is one day before اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد سوري استغفر الله العظيم خربط بين يوم عرفة و 10 من محرم الله يجزيك الخير خربطت بين وقفة عرفة ويوم عيد الأضحى آسف next the day of which is 10 Muharram, the 10th of Muharram, which is the Hijri, the moon calendar, they used to fast it. Then he asked, why do you fast? He asked Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لهم رسول الله ما هذا اليوم الذي تصومونه? What is this day? Why do you fast? قالوا هذا يوم عظيم أنجى الله فيه موسى وقومه وغرق فرعون وقومه أو وغرق فرعون وقومه. This is a great day for us. It is the day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa and his people, which means the Jews, and he destroyed Pharaoh and his people. When the sea, it was split into two big, قال فكان كل فرق كالطود العظيم, like the giant mountain of water, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. تفضلوا أهلا وسهلا حياكم الله. قال هذا يوم عظيم أنجى الله فيه موسى وقومه وغرق فرعون وقومه فصامه موسى شكرا فنحن نصومه. So therefore, as an attitude of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being thankful to Allah, Musa alayhi salam used to fast this day. And then the Jews started to fast this day as a, saying thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it was a great day for us. Allah saved us from Fir'aun and his people. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فنحن أحق وأولى بموسى منكم فصامه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأمر بصيامه. Look now, he said, Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم immediately he said نحن أحق بموسى. He said we are closer, near, we are more in charge to be thankful because of this for Musa alayhi salam. He started or commanded to fast. Okay, good. From one angle you can take this, why we Muslims started to fast the day of Ashura? Simply because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded. This simple answer. Why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded? He commanded to do an act of thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? He discovered that Prophet Muhammad's Jews at Al-Madinah, they used to do it as a sign of gratitude and thankfulness to Allah because it's the day when Musa alayhi salam, then he said, we are closer to him and we should do this. So here I will point a very important point in the context of our relation with others. But before I say this, let me give you another narration. It was narrated as well by Imam Muslim as well. It has to do with Musa alayhi salam. So I will combine the two narrations, the two incidents, two different incidents. Then I will highlight something has to do with we Muslims, how do we view other prophets and messengers, and what is our relation in the faith, especially because they always speak about the Abrahamic religions and interfaith religions. The other narration, it's a sound one. Prophet Muhammad, the narrator Abu Hurairah, he says, قال استب رجلان رجل من اليهود ورجل من المسلمين. Two citizens of Al-Madinah, one is a Muslim, one is a Jew, they had a quarrel, a fight, and they said, they swear at each other. They said very bad words against themselves. So they attacked each other with swearing words. Both of them. They were very angry. A Jew and a Muslim. فقال المسلم والذي اصطفى محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم على العالمين. While they were fighting verbally, the Muslim, he used, he swore by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using a special phrase by saying, by the one who decided to choose Muhammad as the chosen prophet. What did the Jew said? قال اليهودي والذي اصطفى موسى عليه السلام على العالمين. So they are swearing by Allah, but one of them is the using by the one, like when we say وَرَبِّ Muhammad, وَرَبِّ Ibrahim, by the Lord of Muhammad, by the Lord of Ibrahim. So the Muslims say by the Lord who made Muhammad the chosen. Then the Jew said by the Lord who made Musa the chosen. So this is how it developed, this kind of verbal fight. قال فرفع المسلم يده عند ذلك فلطم وجه اليهودي. The Muslim became very angry and he, gave a very strong slap to the face of the Jew. Now فذهب اليهودي إلى رسول الله فأخبره. So the Jew went to Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم and he complained against, because he violently, they were just talking, but they were very angry. You say, by the Lord of Musa, by the Lord of Muhammad, by the Lord, he gave him like this. So the Jew went to the judge, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By the way, if this Jewish does not know that there is full protection for him, do you think he will go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He knows that he will take his right. So he went to complain. Now, قال فأخبره بما كان من أمره وأمر المسلم. Now, look how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ blamed the Muslim. What was the wording here? قال لا تخيروني على موسى. Don't give me a higher status than موسى عليه السلام. قال فإن الناس يصعقون فأكون أول من يفيق فإذا موسى باطش بجانب العرش فلا أدري أكان في من صعق فأفاق قبلي أم من كان ممن استثنى الله. It's amazing. It's a hadith sahih. He said, don't look at me as something superior against Musa alayhi salam. He was praising Musa alayhi salam now, looking in a very high status. He said, one of the things you need to know about Musa alayhi salam, that when the end of time, you know, we believe in the end of time, everyone will be, the horn, the saqa, everyone will die. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect every human being. Prophet Muhammad said, I am the first one who will be able to wake up in the day of judgment after everyone is dead. I will be the first. He said, when I open my eyes, I will see Musa alayhi salam next to part of the arsh, the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I am not sure whether he was given the permission to be awake before me, or he did not aslan die the full death and he was given this kind of high status before everyone dies again in a very like a prestigious way. So as if he was referring to something, don't keep comparing between me and Musa, and don't use any word of looking down with a possibility to Musa alayhi salam. So we did not know what was the final verdict, was he punished or not, at least in this hadith. But the idea, he was blaming the Muslim, لا تخيروني على موسى عليه السلام. This is one of the two incidents has to do with the relation between Muslims and Jews. And it happened in specific about Musa alayhi salam in specific. One of them, the fact that Allah saved Musa and his people from Pharaoh. The other one, a Muslim and a Jew, they were trying always to look now, my prophet is better, your prophet is better, my prophet is better. They say, لا تخيروني على موسى. Okay, this is the narration, the quotation. What could be the lesson? One of the great things you need to be proud of as a Muslim, compared especially with what we call heavenly religions, or Abrahamic religions, as they call it, okay? Now, or monotheistic religions. You know, this is terminology. الأديان التوحيدية, الأديان السماوية, الأديان الإبراهيمية. The point, Jews, Christians, and Muslims. We have something in common, yes. Very strong, to a degree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only group of people on earth that we are allowed to eat their slaughtered meat are just Jews and Muslims. Do you know this? When they are true religious, I'm not talking about liberal or atheists or agnostics. Now, when a real Jewish person slaughters an animal, you as a Muslim are allowed to eat from this meat. Unlike any other, the same thing is Christian. Okay? Type. And the only woman outside the circle of Muslims that a Muslim male is allowed to get married is the Jewish female and the Christian female, exclusively. Apart from this, it's completely haram, and actually your marriage contract is not valid, as if you have not married aslan, even if you did the contract. This is a religious issue. So, do they have a special status? Yes. Who decided this? We? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. Especially the slaughtered meat. Now, what does this mean? This means you need to be proud when someone asks you about yourself. What do you believe? How do you view others? Because, you know, mainstream media in different areas on earth, they always try to damage the image of Muslims, as if they are what? Exclusively they are against everyone, they are just proud of themselves, they look superior to others, they don't accept, they are violent, they are such and such. You know, the media, so many people when they speak with you, many of them they don't know. And by the way, some of the writers, some of the authors, some of the websites, some of the media channels, they keep brainwash the non-Muslims that we hate them, we don't respect them, we look down at them for many reasons, many political agendas. In reality, who's respecting others more? In my religion, if I don't believe in Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam, I'm considered what? Kafir, a non-believer. Yani can you imagine that when you present yourself to this non-Muslim who's coming to attack you and say, look, in my religion, if I don't believe in Isa alayhi salam and in Musa, I'm a non-believer. It's not just believe, and respect as well. Yani, if you make a joke against Jesus Christ or Moses, Isa and Musa alayhim salam, a joke for the sake of fun, do you know what is the hukum, the regulation? Kafir. You will be a non-believer. You will leave Islam if you make a joke. Jesus Isa alayhi salam came and once he said to his disciples, you became a kafir. You left Islam. What? طيب, is there any regulation in Judaism and Christianity if someone made a joke against Muhammad, he will become a kafir in their religion? Do you think so? No. You need to know how to present yourself. By the way, it's not up to me. If it's up to me, maybe I will choose something similar to that. It's not up to you. You believe in Musa and Isa. Okay, we believe all our prophets and messengers, but and specifically these two, because they are the prophets, okay, or the most important two figures in these two religions, that we share something with them. And Allah has give this kind of common area, which is marriage and slaughtered meat. So when you present, and by the way, they are the most influential people on earth now. They control the media, and many of their followers, they are influenced with these things. So their followers, they need to know your reality. You are not one of, you are the best inclusive religion on earth. Because you respect others. Actually, you just respect them, you believe in them, and you will not be a believer in your religion if you don't believe in them and you don't respect them. So you can quote these two sound narrations. One of them, why we fast Ashura. It's a celebration by Muslims for the fact that Allah saved Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun. So what's this? What's this? This gives you just an idea, an example, just how to deal with such, things. Another narration from what happened at the beginning of Al-Madinah is Anas alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu, and I finish today's inshallah session بإذن الله. العشاء 8:30 صح؟ Okay, very quickly. روى أنس رضي الله عنه قال لما قدم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المدينة. What's the context? What are of the things that used to happen at the beginning of the Medina? Okay, one of them relations, the charter, the mu'akha, the masjid, and one of the things in the narration قال أنس رضي الله عنه, and it was narrated by Imam Muslim as well. قال لما قدم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أخذ أبو طلحة بيدي فانطلق بي إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا رسول الله إن أنسا غلام كيس فليخدمك. قال فخدمته في السفر والحضر والله ما قال لي لشيء صنعته لما صنعت هذا هكذا ولا لشيء لم أصنعه لما لم تصنع هذا هكذا. Anas رضي الله عنه, he was presented to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when he was a young boy to be like a very close servant to Muhammad ﷺ. In our terminology, like the very special secretary. The one who's always next to the important person, for example, like the president or the boss, the one who's holding his suitcase, or the one who makes his telephone calls immediately, or the one who contacts with others. Anas radiallahu anhu, he was a very close servant to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So one of the great things he said about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, since he came and he accepted him to help him in his his private special things. قال خدمت الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم 10 سنين. When he accepted me as a servant, I served him 10 years. Can you imagine in 10 years how many things happened? How many hundreds and thousands of things he commanded him, do this, don't do this, ask such and such to say, do something, go and bring, go and call, tell someone, don't do, spread, tell, what did you, tens of commandments, okay? He is the servant of the head of the state. So tens of things has to do with politics, with the private, with aqeedah, many things. He said, لم يقل لي لشيء فعلته لما فعلته هكذا ولا لشيء لم أفعله لما تفعله. Which means, in our simple, humble terminology, he was not keep chasing and nagging against me. Why you did not do it in this way? Why you did this in this way and this way? He was, in our educational terminology, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was so nice, so kind, and so tolerant and so flexible in dealing with the very close people to him, with are subjugated to him under his direct authority. He was not making their life difficult. This is a very big message, by the way, for parents, for educators, for teachers, for presidents, for CEOs, for leaders, which means this is a very close private relation with his own private secretary, attached to him most of the time. He was not making his life difficult. So it's a big message, by the way. Big message. One of the great things, and khalas, I'll finish the session from my memory. It's not in the dars. Anas, one of the greatest incidents happened with Anas from my point of view. Once Anas, he's about 10, 12, just in a nice, there's a small kid, he wants to play. He says, بعثني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوما لحاجة في الوقت الذي كان يقيل فيه. You know the قيلولة? When taking like a nap, okay, for about 10-15 minutes. It's part of the sunnah, especially in the context of the Arabic Peninsula. It's very, very hot in the mid of the day. So it's part of the sunnah to take a rest. Because generally, the custom of people, they used after the Fajr not to go to sleep. So when you are awake after the Fajr, by the time of the noon, you've been already awake for 6 hours. And it's very hot. It's part of the sunnah to take what? Qaylula. It's a 10-15 minutes nap. It's part of the sunnah. So Prophet Muhammad used to do it on daily basis. 10-15 minutes, just rest and nap. Anas says, at a certain point, Prophet Muhammad sent me to do something exactly in the time that he was about to take his nap. So he said, قال فخرجت فإذ بالصبية يلعبون. He himself is a small kid. He said, I went outside, so I found, those are similar in my age. They were playing in the street. So for him, فقال بيقول أنس قال يعني معنى الحديث قال قدرت في نفسي أن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم is a nap. Now he's sleeping, so it will not make big difference if I play 10 minutes okay, it's because he's sleeping now. No one will feel it, and I can continue, and once I finish, hardly he will be awake. This is the estimation of Anas. قال فأخذت ألعب مع الصبية. I started playing with them, assuming that Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم is what? Doing what now? In his nap. 20 minutes. I play 10 minutes, I go and finish whatever. Once I came back, so he will not feel what happened because simply he was sleeping. This is what he was assuming, or thinking, or expecting Anas. قال فبين ألعب مع الصبية قال فرفعت رأسي فإذ برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم واقف بيننا. He said, I was suddenly surprised that he came after me for a reason I did not know, and he did not have his nap. قال he came and suddenly I saw him in the mid of the kids playing and looking at me. Try to imagine this. You are the private secretary of the head of the state. And you are now representing Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, prophet and messenger. He sent you in a very private issue, go and do such and such, and you are playing now. You are ignoring his commandments. Can you imagine for a small kid what could have been his feelings if you were him? And Allah, I try to imagine that I'm in his place. Wallahi, it's a disaster. Muhammad sallallahu sent me and I'm ignoring, I'm playing. I tried psychologically, especially we think in the Arabic way. 2 minutes, brother, just, okay? Jazakallah khair. What I was saying?
Perspective.
I was trying to put myself in his place. Wallah, it's horrible. Because I was thinking in the Arabic way. You know, in the Arabic way, يعني you will be attacked such and such. أنت أنا بعتك أنت كذا something. Look what Anas said. He said قال فما زاد رسول الله على أن سلم على الصبية ثم نظر إلي وابتسم. He said he did nothing more than he just greeted all the kids by saying Assalamu alaikum first of all, spread the peace. Then he looked at me and gave me a smile. That's it. Not even a word of, you did such and such, I asked you to do so and so. Nothing at all, he just smiled. خلاص, Anas, he got it. يعني خلاص. You fallen short, you are breaking the covenant, you did, but he did not, what? Destroy his personality. He did not attack him because he made a big mistake, but he did nothing. Simply just, he made a salam and he smiled in his face. By the way, do you know if we as parents, we deal with our kids in this way, wallahi, it will change a lot of things in terms of the bonds and the relations between fathers and their kids. Wallahu alam. Jazakumullah khair. Now we welcome Brother Salman to come into it. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.